Roanoke, and we're about to meet the Miss Virginia 2016 finalists.
You were probably the most intimidating interview I've ever had, and I've done a media tour for the past year, so
Oh my God.
let's do it.
Ready, go ahead.
What is something that isn't taught in schools, but you think should be?
Compassion, showing kindness to every person, whether you have a disability or not.
Who is somebody that inspired you growing up, but is not related to you?
Ooh, that is a tough one. This is going to sound really corny. Actually, George Washington. I hope to be a politician one day, and to have someone step away from potentially, a crowning royal throne and say that we only need 2 serving terms, I think that's impressive. And I actually hope in Congress one day to impose term limits. So I think, it's a great thing to have in our country.
What is one trait that you would want your daughter to have?
Selflessness. I think putting service, above self, and having the idea that you are putting others in the spotlight and not yourself is the most important thing, and you will be rewarded for that. So it's extremely important. I try to live that in my life every day.
Hey there.
What is something that isn't taught in schools, but you think should be?
Cultural understanding. I think especially in today's time, it would really benefit students if they understood different cultures and approached it with more compassion.
I would definitely say financial literacy. I know that's a big subject, but growing up and going through high school and things, we learned a lot of great things. We learned a lot of different subjects, but I never learned how to do my taxes, and I never learned how to pay my bills. Really, some practical things like that. So I would really love for that to be taught more and to really improve financial literacy in schools for sure.
I think something that's not taught in schools that should be is how to be self-confident. I think that's what I've definitely learned throughout the Miss Virginia organization, and I wish that I could see that implemented in our schools around Virginia and maybe across our nation.
Probably skincare protection. That's my platform, and making sure people are safe in the sun.
More dance. I'm a dancer, and I wish that more dance is taught in schools because it's so much fun and such great exercise, don't you think?
I think home ec should be taught in schools. It wasn't taught in my school, and I didn't know how to bake things and cook things, and I really wish I had gotten that at school, but I didn't.
Something that isn't taught in schools is the importance of music and how it can also help with your academic career. Students that study music are often shown to have higher test scores, and I think that should be really taught in schools.
I personally believe that taxes should be taught in school. Now that I'm getting a little bit older and having to pay my own bills, I realized that I really needed to know those things and how to manage and budget my money a little bit better, because being a grown-up is harder than I thought it was.
I think just teaching people how to respect others. I think a lot of times we're so focused on our schooling and the books and everything like that, but we're not taught things like respect and courtesy and how to be polite to one another. So I think if we taught that, it would change our society a big time.
I think something that is taught in schools should be American Sign Language. I was lucky enough to have a program where it taught it, but most schools, they don't consider it a real language. With me, it's helped broaden my horizons, actually perform my acting abilities.
That's cool.
I think something that should be taught is respect for society. It is something right now during the presidential election that I think is truly important, that we sit back, whether it's Republican, whether it's Democrat, and we listen to each other so we can actually finally get something done in Congress.
I definitely think confidence. I think that's not focused on in school very much. I think it's obviously about math and science, but they don't teach you life lessons, and I think that confidence is a big one that kids in school need.
Well, now that I'm an adult and I'm grown up, I think that adulting is really hard, and that's something that we don't teach our children: how to balance checkbooks, how to do our taxes, how to save for a car payment. So those are all really important things that we should start teaching at a young age.
I think something that isn't taught in schools all the time is our character, because we focus a lot on the job that we want to get one day and knowing all the math questions and knowing all the science questions and how to ace your SAT and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes we don't focus enough on inner beauty and what really makes us, special and unique. And so that's something I think we should focus more on.
Something that is very up and coming right now in the school systems is STEM education, and that's my platform, Educate to Innovate with STEM. It's promoting hands-on real-life experiences for kids in the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics courses.
I think we should definitely start teaching our children how to live a better and healthier lifestyle. They have gym class, but they don't get to get out and run around as much as they should.
I
love arts education, and my platform is actually Succeed with STEAM. So I promote a STEAM education which integrates STEM and arts together to teach students how to look at the world more innovatively and humanistically.
Well, when I was young, I was taught how to balance a checkbook and write checks, and I don't think that's taught much anymore, so I think that's really important to kind of incorporate back into the curriculum.
Something that was not taught in my school in particular was the arts. I know it's instilled in a lot of different schools, but in my school it was not emphasized. I had to create a National Music Honor Society in my school, and I also had to get my school to have plays. I think the arts in education is really important to be well-rounded and be involved with sports as well as the arts.
Well, my platform is Defying Dyslexia, and currently in the state of Virginia, children with dyslexia don't get the help they need to succeed in the public school system. And I really hope that children with dyslexia can get the help they need because they suffer and they often drop out of school, and I wish that I could change that.
I believe that, well, see, I teach marine conservation, so I believe a lot of what they don't talk about is what happens after, there's pollution and stuff. One time I traveled to an oil spill, and there was kids covered in hives. So they forget that these things happen to people. So it's not just about the animals. It's not just about, waters being clean or not. I feel like they should cover more extensive amount of schools in for that marine conservation.
I think how to manage money is really important. That's something that they don't really teach anymore.
Who is someone growing up that inspired you, but you're not related to them?
So I was going to say my parents until you threw in the not related to. So the second person would have to be Beyonce. I'm a huge fan, and I absolutely adore her. And I just saw her in concert last week, and I love that she's always stayed true to herself. She's a fashion icon, and she has an amazing voice. So Beyonce.
Audrey Hepburn is definitely someone that really inspired me growing up. As you can tell by the hair, she's always inspired me because not only was she a beautiful actress, but she also began UNICEF. She was one of the ambassadors for that. She also helped a lot of kids around the world and helped with a lot of things, just like same thing, marine conservation. And I just love how she is herself in every aspect. She's one of the first pixie cuts, and so I love how unique she is.
I'm going to have to say my tutor. She has taught me so much, not only to overcome my dyslexia, but she's helped me become confident. Without her, I wouldn't be here at Miss Virginia, and she's so humble, and I'm so honored that I have her in my life.
Someone that inspires me is someone that lived right behind me when I was growing up. Her name is Amy Bishop, and she would always do my hair, would always give me unhealthy food, and send me home very hyper when I was about 5 years old. And today she's still one of my closest family friends and buys me a lot of clothes and gives me advice.
I think that I don't really have one person I necessarily look up to. I think it's a collection of educated women in our society, a lot of successful women, first women, especially Michelle Obama now. I mean, she's a total inspiration to, I think, a lot of women.
That would actually be my dance teacher, Miss Leia. She taught me from the time I was about 13 years old, and now I teach dance, and she is a great mentor that I look at professionally, and I still go and take her class sometimes. And she's a mother of 3 and just a beautiful person inside and out, and she inspires me every day.
We have a very close family friend. Her name is Becky. She's wonderful, and she's just such a wonderful Christian lady. She's always inspired me and lifted me up anytime I've needed it.
I would say I have a family friend. We call him Uncle Tommy, but I'm not really related to him. And he is always helping those in need and always lending a helping hand.
Okay, so I'm kind of a tough cookie. You would never guess it by looking at me with these big sparkly earrings, but I love Muhammad Ali, and he just passed away. But I love boxing. I do a little MMA, jiu-jitsu every once in a while. So I would have to say that man is a hero and an inspiration and someone I'd love to meet.
Well, I still consider myself growing up. I think I'm just a big kid. And the doctor that I work for is the most generous and kind-hearted person that I've ever met. And every day going into his office, he makes me want to be a better person and makes me want to help people even more.
Ooh, Demi Lovato. I grew up in the Camp Rock Disney Channel phase when Demi Lovato was a really big actress. And I think that when she went to rehab for her issues and her self-confidence issues, and she came out and she came back stronger than ever, and she is so awesome, and she is just killing it in the music industry right now, and that's definitely someone that I've loved watching.
Jackie Kennedy.
Her name is actually Jana Grubbs, and I've been dancing since I was the age of 4. And she was just someone who was always inspirational. I actually just met with her today. She came up to see me and surprised me. She gives me full of wisdom, full of knowledge, and she's always my encourager when I'm down.
Someone who inspired me growing up was my high school teacher. He had all these quotes on his walls, and I always encourage you to dream big. And even if you fell asleep during class, you wouldn't be able to because you were so focused on all the details on the ceiling.
Ronald Reagan. I am a huge fan of politics. I'm studying politics right now, and he was someone that he didn't start out with politics. He wasn't someone that really knew much about it, but he got into it, and he was loved by both parties just for the man that he was. He was such an amazing person, just down to earth and really respectful. So,
someone that inspired me growing up that I'm not related to is my god sister Shakita. She was very determined in finishing school early. She went straight from high school to college to law school, and she finished all of that and owned her own house, and I thought that was amazing. So I'm aspiring to be like her as I mature and grow up in life.
Someone who inspired me growing up would have to be my pastor. I mean, I go to church every Sunday, and just, sitting in Bible study and learning so much from someone and growing to really understand that knowledge throughout your life is so helpful.
Delegate Lee Ware, he was my high school teacher, and he's my role model in politics, and that's what my platform is about, a strong state for a stronger country.
Heather Whitestone. She was Miss America, and she was a dancer. She was actually deaf, which is so inspiring about her because she danced on point like I'm going to do for my talent. So she's not related to me, but definitely inspires me.
I'd probably have to say that it would be one of my best friends because she really inspired me to constantly do what I want. She'll actually be Miss Virginia, so it's really exciting.
That's actually difficult because I was going to say my mother. But actually, my director from last year when I was Miss Virginia Dog was Outstanding Teen. Her name is Hester Fletcher, so I hope she ends up seeing this. She has taught me so much. She's taught me how to be a young woman, and she's actually everything I aspire to be. So she's someone who's not related to me, who's definitely helped me grow into who I am today.
My middle school teacher, Mrs. Roop, inspired me to love life and just to continue to follow my dreams always.
What is one trait that you would want your daughter to have?
My daughter to have? I would want my daughter to have a strong work ethic, much like my mother has and gave to me. I think that is one of the most powerful and beautiful things that a woman can have that will propel her further in the workforce.
I really want my daughter to have a drive. I know my mom, she, growing up, she was a single mother, and she always taught me to go after stuff. Never to wait for it to come to me. So I think one of the number one things I did, this is really out of my comfort zone, being part of this pageant. She was like, don't be scared, just do it. So I think definitely one of the things I want my daughters to have is that drive to just go out there and do whatever she wants to do.
I would say confidence, because I think that's the key to a powerful woman, and I really think that the Miss America organization has helped me through that, and I would want any girl to have confidence and be proud of who they are.
I want my daughter to be hardworking but also humble at the same time. My father taught me that. He's had many different jobs, has been very successful, but at the same time never lets it get to his head and always has an air about him that he's humble and cares about others around him.
Well, if they're going to inherit things from me, I want them to have my sense of humor because I like to think I'm pretty funny, so hopefully they'll get that trait as well.
As many times as I think about my future mythical children, I think I would say honesty. I would love for her to be an honest person, for people to be able to trust her and just be true and genuine to who she is.
I would just want her to be a humble follower of Christ. I think that's one of the most important traits that you can have in your life, and I hope to inspire my future children to be humble followers of Christ.
I want her to love unconditionally. If we love unconditionally, we will be able to solve a lot of the world's problems.
Well, there's lots of traits I wish that she would have, but I hope that one day the biggest thing would be that she would be compassionate, because that's what makes the world go around. We have to love one another, support each other, build each other up, and so I hope my daughter is a really compassionate, loving soul.
I just want my daughter to be kind. I think kindness is the ultimate expression of beauty. So if she can be kind to everyone she meets, then I will certainly be satisfied.
Ooh, let's see. I would want her to have loyalty. Loyalty is something that I have personally instilled in myself and made sure that I followed that, because I think that is so important. And I would definitely want my daughter to be loyal to her friends and loyal to the people in her life.
I think to be humble. I think with anything that you do, whether you're successful, whatever you do in life, if you're always humble, I truly believe that blessings will come to you.
One trait that I want my daughter to have is probably my sense of relating to people. I have a way of kind of shifting my personality a little bit to be able to bond with people, and it's a way to make someone smile and make their day.
I would want her to be courageous. No matter what life threw at her, I would want her to be able to stand up for herself and go past anything that life threw her way.
Wow, I want my daughter to have confidence. As a young lady, I wasn't always the most confident little girl. I cried a lot if people told me they didn't like my shirt, they didn't like my hair. So if I could pass on to my daughter the confidence that I'm growing into, I would think that would be an amazing thing for her to have.
One trait I would want my daughter to have is my music ability. I play 6 instruments, and I think it is so important to have someone that really embraces your talent and to be able to bring that music home.
The trait of confidence. You know, it's important to always be confident in everything that you do, and it's important to teach kids to be confident because they can go on and do amazing things where if you lack that confidence, you might miss out on an amazing opportunity to impact the world around you.
Kindness. Kind of like the movie Cinderella, the new one that says have courage and be kind. I want my daughter to have kindness toward everyone she meets.
For me, always being honest and having that integrity about yourself. You know, you want to make sure that you're always honest with people and always telling the truth, and that's what will get you positive and get you through life.
Like I was talking about earlier, I'd want her to have self-confidence, and I think that's maybe why I'll enter her into pageants, or at least something that she can find her purpose with. I know that I found myself quite at home doing the Miss Virginia organization and participating in pageants across Virginia, but I think that, you know, something a lot of girls don't have, especially at a young age, is the trait of confidence, and I think that hopefully my daughter will be able to embody that.
I want her to be confident and to be secure in herself and know that she is beautiful and loved no matter what.
Really just hardworking, I think. You know, I think it's really important to really just have ambitions like you're doing, for example, and just really strive to do that every day.